Before Blender became common, thousands of creators were making stop-motion Army Men movies using nothing but plastic Army Men, a digital camera, and a stop-motion software. This is the history of that community. What started as kids pushing toys around in the backyard turned into one of YouTube's longest-running underground film scenes. Over nearly 20 years, it grew, collapsed, reinvented itself, and kept going. We'll look at these three eras. In the mid to late 2000s, YouTube was still young, so the cameras were terrible. Stop-motion software was probably just Windows Movie Maker or basic photo sequencing. Yet a handful of people were already making Army Men movies. One of the earliest still available is Bobby Gorilla's Flip-O-Vision Army Men, uploaded in 2006, but shot earlier in the year 2001 with friends. This shows a 10-minute film following green troops storming beaches, deserts, and fortified positions against the Tans. It was made with thousands of still photos shot about 12 FPS on an old digital camera. Around the same time came FPE Video's Army Men The Package. A small green squad is tasked with delivering a package. What follows is a series of vehicle chases, tank battles, and combat against gray forces. This was one of the few early stop motions that had grays. The sandpit set was carefully sculpted with roads and bridges. The animation focused on very few characters, so the posing was really cool, especially for that era. Later creators would repeatedly cite it as an early favorite. Then there was Savvy Productions' Army Men the series, longer form and more ambitious than most of the other ones at the time. It built actual story and narrative momentum. The original uploads were deleted though, but copies circulated for years. Fans still talk about memorizing entire sequences. Not everything was pure stop motion. Full-time media leaned into puppeteering soldiers moving with sticks, wires, and hands, and films like Army Men Save Lightbulb HQ and the sequel, The Good, the Bad, and the Hippies. These were comedy-heavy, packed with stereotypes, house object battlefields, and over-the-top villains. They showed the genre didn't have to take itself seriously to be very entertaining. This is one of the few films ever recognized that was not only stop motion. Not to mention the infamous series Army Men vs. Peeps. Although there are only 2 official episodes, people love this so much that there are many recreations. It's just what the title says, Army Men vs. Peeps. Overall, most of these films were crude by today's standard because of the webcam quality, inconsistent frame rates, and the lighting. There's no real standards, and it was obvious that they were using cotton for smoke, dirt for explosions, or even small fireworks when their parents were looking. Green vs. Tans wars dominated, clearly inspired by the Army Men video games and the idea of toys coming to life after the movie Toy Story. Then one channel changed it all, and I bet you've all heard of them at least 10 billion times. In late 2021, Michael Ackerman uploaded a film simply called Hedgebase. It did not invent Army Men stop motion, but it refined what was possible. The animation was tighter, the camera moved with intention, lighting was considered although still outside, sound design actually mattered, editing had rhythm, the storytelling, while still simple, felt cinematic rather than just sequential. Suddenly the bar was no longer can they walk, it's can you make the audience feel a story. Plastic Apocalypse's influence went far beyond view counts. It inspired hundreds of new creators. Plastic Apocalypse influence went far beyond view counts. It inspired hundreds of new creators. Channels that have been making occasional shorts started treating the craft more seriously. Existing creators leveled up their techniques. New people who had never considered stop motion before saw the film and thought, I could try that sometime. And with that, collaborations formed, contests appeared, trends spread quickly, certain shot compositions, specific ways of handling explosions, recurring sound effects, even particular soldiers and brands because of that couple films. Different styles began to emerge. Some leaned harder into realism, other into comedy, or more into story. Eventually, the craze slowed down. Life, other projects, and the sheer difficulty of the medium took their toll. The original series wound down, but the community did not disappear with it. Although it, as we know right now, it has slowly died. Yeah, okay, I don't know a better way to put it. It's basically almost dead. In the modern era, The community diversified. Some creators chased photorealism and historical accuracy. Others doubled down on comedy and absurdity. Some treated the medium like short-form cinema. But there was a big problem. YouTube itself changed around them. The algorithm began favoring shorter content. YouTube Shorts were created, creating a new, faster-paced lane. Comment sections became less centralized. Discord servers and private groups took over community discussions. The scene grew smaller in a lot of ways. Fewer brand new channels exploding overnight, but deeper and more interconnected among those who stayed. Today, the hobby continues. Production values sometimes climb even. The average new Army Men film is better looking than a lot of the ones in the beginning. The community is quieter than its peak, but is still active, but not by a whole lot. Still collaborative, but not by a whole lot. And still producing work that would have been seemed impossible in 2008, but really not by a whole lot. Plastic Army Men are literally just cheap toys from like a Dollar Tree. Yet, over 20 years, they have inspired thousands of films, friendships, and creators around the world. The community may be smaller than it once was, but every new animator is still building on the work of who came before. The webcam experimenters, the ambitious series makers, and the one channel that showed everyone how high the bar could go. It continues. The plastic really never dies. Thank y'all. If you enjoyed any of this, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. I'm trying to get to 500 subscribers before the year 2026 ends. Thank y'all very much. Have a good rest of y'all day.